Hello everybody. Today we're going to be VOD reviewing Visuals and Braids from their win in the most recent Division 1 finals on NA Central. And I think this game is really important to watch because it shows how to play low ground and when not to force low ground and just build up, which I think a lot of teams struggle with. And I'm going to skip the mid game because their whole mid game is basically they land over at this split, they loot up, build a little surge base that Braids will farm surge, and Visuals will just fish until half and half when they rotate in. And then, so that jetpack, they just make sure to land slightly off edge, so next zone they don't have to be the first team to go. And they got dead side because of their storm play from earlier. When zone pulls, immediately scouting. They know they have to jetpack this, build some walls to make it a little bit safer. And then, I think they do the best jetpack here, where you just build the floor, edit the wall, hit your head on the floor. And this one is honestly safer, because if you like edit this top row, everyone knows where you're jetpacking from. And when you do this, they are less likely to know where you're jetpacking from. And he gets tagged, but ultimately it's worth it, because he gets to a dead side. Makes a little bit of space. And the reason they're not like going forward right now is because they're waiting for zone to open. You can see he even marked like left side of zone. And so if they go now, they're forced to go in, but if they wait, zone will just keep opening left, which is where they want to go. And then here, I think Braids makes a really good play and utilizes crouching. He sees this player with his wall open, and he full crouch walks over, being undetected, and it lags, but he hits a one bump. It's a very good refresh. I think crouching is very underrated, and a lot of teams don't do it as much as they should. And then here it is, where zone open to the left. Now you see there's no teams down here on the left, so they're gonna have an easy time just running in, saving a lot of mats. And Braids gets tagged up a little bit, so he's gonna heal. Then zone's popping in one, so he's ready to go right when zone opens. Gets tagged up a little bit, but manages to claim dead side low ground. And this like tarp he does is really good because he basically cuts off all the low. I'll go to drone free. But if you're like a team over here and you want to take low, I mean you could drop left, but they're basically just gonna shoot you and you're cut off from the lobby. And then he builds walls on his back to make sure no one can lurk them. And then I think what Visuals does a really good job at on low ground is just prioritizing staying front. Especially just trust in Braids to get a kill. And even if Braids doesn't get a kill, they have so many mats this game because of the lurk play that Braids said earlier. And I think it's really important to just, if you're tarping, just fully focus on zone if you want to play low ground. Because the second you stop tarping front, it's in a good lobby, someone is most likely going to take it. Zone pops, and actually one more thing. When he tarps into zone here, you'll notice on the map, if I can zoom in, they're one of the most front zone teams, meaning if wherever zone pulls, it can't be a bad pull for them. Pulls left, they're right there. Pulls north, they're right there. Pulls back, they have their old tarp. Any zone, they have a free rotate. Which is why it's important, especially when you're on low, to just full tarp front. Because if they just stopped where, say, like G money is, and it pulls max, which it does, they would have a really tough time. And just to show it again, they are one of the most front zone teams and central teams. And also, if you just look, a lot of like the very good placing teams are mid zone, like Clicks and Higgs, Rapid, Kanata, Braids, even Josh and Yamza. So it does pull north, and he's ready to go instantly. And he takes low here. And soon you'll see what I'm talking about when the second you stop tarping front, someone is going to take it. And then you'll see what they do to counter that. So they look for a spray down, and while they do that, Acorn drops front low. They try to fight it, and once they realize it's kind of grief, they give it up. And this is where I think they do a really good play that teams struggle with a lot. They wait back zone, scout a rotate, and then elevate up layers. And now next zone pops in 1, they're ready to go. Pulls up again, they have to elevate. And then here, they box someone front zone, Braids hits a max pump, they get the kill. But they have to heal, so they can't go front low right now. And here again, they're back zone, and they wait for zone to open up a little more and heal. And then they elevate again, off low. Because they know when you're back zone and trying to take low, you're never going to actually get it. You're just going to get cut off 90% of the time. And so now they elevate, they tarp front. Gets a little grief, but they're chilling. And then they know their game plan is to take low again. And so they get together, front zone, 3 seconds. They wait for pull. They don't, even though Height's spraying them, they just wait for the pull. They realize it keeps pulling north. And so they know they can drop now, because no one's going to be front zone. Because it was a triple max pull and no one's really going to be down here that early. Unless, for some weird reason, they are. So they take low. They see the dead body. They try to spray it. Gets a little bit grief. Builds front. And now they know their best way to win this game is to stay healthy and stay as a duo. Their mats are important, but keeping their shield topped up and both being alive is how they're going to win this game. They get a free refresh onto bolts. They don't get the kill, unfortunately, but... And then now, I think this 2v2 they play really well. You'll see Visuals is looking for a shot. Braids is kind of looking for a lurk play. He mantles, misses a shot. And then the second he drops, you'll see Visuals go up from a different angle. He mantles up, trades with Peterbot basically, trading max pumps. And now they know Poyo has no mats, and they have no mats. And so when he gets on their cone, they double edit him down, and they just double pump him. And even if Poyo, say he kills Visuals here, Braids is confident enough in his aim to just win that. And yeah, I think the major takeaways from this game is, just because you have low, if it pulls max, or you get hit hard and you need to heal, just get off low, wait for a zone, find a path, get off low, and then next zone, when next zone pops, you can maybe try to take it again. Okay, the next game I'm going to show is a game from Epic Whale and Pump over on NA West. And this game is from the most recent Opens Division 1 Cup on West. And the main reason I'm showing this game is because I think they do a really good job of taking height, which I think people are not very good at. Taking height, I think people are good at holding height when they have it, and kind of just getting it for free, which is how a lot of people get height. And this will show how to actually take it from a good team, in my opinion. And so the first thing they do is they land in Height's blind spot, or mirror, which is basically just right under Height where they're not going to be able to see you. And what makes it even easier for them landing here is, since it's first moving, most Height teams are going to tarp with like a 2x2 cone. Instead of just floor cone, they're just going to build 2 wide, because it makes them look scarier. And first zone, usually you don't have to worry about like getting chopped that much, because a lot of teams aren't gonna think about height. They need a refresh or whatever. And so them landing under here, especially with Height even building 4 wide at some point, Height is not going to be able to see them when they're chopping, and it's going to give them a very easy chop, which they will do. They look for a kill, don't get it, and immediately realize they're under Height. Well, they knew they were under Height, and so they chop them. They see the Height connected, so they chop the connection point. And now they're gonna try to build for it, but immediately once they realize it's grief, they stop building for it and they just go front zone. And then Epic Will does fall there a little bit on accident, but it won't hurt them. And so they still have really good mats. But the one thing I want to show you is when you chop height, I don't think people realize how much height gets griefed when you chop them. And so I'm going to show before they chopped them and then after they chopped it. Skip too far. And yeah, basically, when you chop height, they're going to use way more mats than you actually think they need to use. Because they think you're going to build up, they're just scared, they start panicking a little bit, and they're just going to start overbuilding like crazy. And so here they are, tarping front. Does his connection. And right now they have 1,600 mats. 1,600 mats. Realize they're getting chopped. Try to fight it a little. He falls a little, cranks back up. Choppa's trying to hold it. A new team comes up because they saw him get chopped. Which that won't happen every time, but it will definitely happen. And so now they finally re-established it, but how many mats did they end up using? Now he has 500 mats and 20 mats. So they used 900 builds to hold height just because they got chopped once. Now, is that always going to happen when you chop height, that they're going to have to use 1,000 mats? Definitely not. But I think it's important to see how many mats height actually has to use when you chop them compared to what you think. Like, you probably think they have to use like a couple hundred mats, like maybe 300 or 400 mats. When in reality, they're using almost 1,000 mats in some scenarios. And so you're going to see Pump and Epic Will continue to play a mid layer. Fizz go front, pretty basic rotations. They find a free kill. Gets a pretty good refresh off this. I think it's like double Siphon, roughly. And then, now that he's stacked again, he's like, okay, let's get front, see what height looks like. Because their whole goal of this game is they want to take height. And so when he looks up and he sees them in wood, and he sees this team like kind of fighting for it, he realizes we can actually just go up. Like, we can look for a little chop, but both these teams are building wood. They're not going to be able to PG us when we have 700 mats and 350 mats respectively. And so they fizz up, and they just start building. Not overbuilding, but just asserting dominance, taking height. And now they have height. And the reason they're able to get this high ground, the reason height was on wood was because of the chop earlier, where height had to use, basically, we'll just round up and say 1,000 mats. And so now that they're on height, it's pretty much just a basic height win. Tarping front, they're definitely cheap building because even they didn't have great mats to take it, but because of the chop, and because of how they just alphaed it when they went up and looked like they had max mats, no one's really gonna PG for that. Especially when they have no mats to PG with. So they're on height, they're just spraying. Pretty basic height win from here. Nothing too special. I will show a little bit of controller aim from Pump here. It's a L2 spam triple dink. I mean, that'll happen. Just keep spraying. Go back to Epic Will's POV. Just spraying. But yeah, the main takeaway from this game, like, from here it's kind of just, they just outskill the lobby. It's a lot of solos, but the main takeaway is, when you chop height, they're going to use a lot more mats than you actually realize. And just because you chop them doesn't mean you have to go for it that instant. If you wait even like 2 moving zones, which is basically what they waited, if it's the same height team, they're going to be shambles unless they got a refresh. And that's the easiest way to take height, other than just maybe flanking at back zone, which I'll make a separate video on that. But yeah, they managed to get the win, and I think they played this game really well, which is why I picked this game. Yeah, thanks for watching.